Hey everybody, it's Herbert Broussard here. I'm the founding owner of Broussard Investment Group. We are a real estate solutions company that specializes in solving real estate problems. But today's video is not about me or my company. Today's video is about um, restoring the north side of Lafayette. I've been doing a lot of research lately, and I've been seeing a lot of controversy around the south side of Lafayette expanding while the north side of Lafayette is dwindling. And I kind of see where the frustration comes in at, and I understand what my people are going through, given lack of opportunity, lack of jobs, lack of resources. But there is no excuse to why we couldn't come up with a plan so how we can revitalize the north side of Lafayette. So in today's video, I have a four-part process to how we can start to put a plan in act to rebuild the north side of Lafayette. So, I'm just starting a conversation around it. We need a think tank on the north side of Lafayette. They have other organizations, doing things like 360 Collective. You have the Macomb Vise Coterie. Um, so there are people doing things in the community, but there's not many people in the community talking about building infrastructure. Um, and that what we're gonna talk about in today's video. So let's hop right into it. So, every time I'm on Facebook, I'm seeing people saying, who hiring, and it gets to a point to where it's like, stop asking who's hiring and start creating so you can do the hiring. Because in order for us on the north side of Lafayette to sustain ourselves as a community, we have to be self-sufficient. So the first thing we should do is get into entrepreneurship. We have to start our own businesses. We have to learn how to design, launch, and run a business. That way, we can hire people who look like us first. And we can put money into people who look like us pocket, and they can help us in return. The reason why entrepreneurship is so important, because you don't want to be in a position to where you feel subjective and you feel limited to what you can do at one job, or in one atmosphere where you feel restricted by, it might be the color of your skin, it might be you're not comfortable in the place. But we have to really get off of the I need a job uh, mentality. We have to get that mentality of I need a job, I need a job, when really we should be creating jobs for people in our own communities. That way we can self-sustain ourselves. Entrepreneurship is important, you know, um, and it's really needed because it's a lot of desperation going on the north side of Lafayette. And one of the reasons is because we're not starting our own businesses. And they have resources too in Lafayette. I'm not sure if you heard of the organizations, but they have one called Innovate, and they have another one called the Opportunity Machine. So check those out on Facebook. They're resources for startups, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and get involved and really voice your opinion. Um, but not too much of your opinion on the situation that's going on between the north side of Lafayette and the south side of Lafayette, but just get involved so you can infiltrate, educate, and vacate. Right? Go get the information, bring the information back to the north side so we can build, because that's what it's called for, and that's what it's really time for. So we need to start with entrepreneurship. We need to start running businesses, and creating opportunities for people who look like us. Because in the next 20 years, the north side of Lafayette is probably going to be really crab in the bucket mentality. Because if you really look at it, guys, um, the north side and the Lafayette, the north side of Lafayette and the south side is divided by the train track, guys. For example, when you're in Simcoe and you turn on Jefferson going towards downtown, as soon as you cross over the lights, like right by the Spirit gas station on the corner, right before you get under the underpass, that's where the north side of Lafayette stops. And you might say, well, what makes you say that? Okay, Why is it that whenever you go under the pad, it says downtown Lafayette? It's only on one side of Jefferson. When you, let's say for New Orleans as an example, Bourbon Street is one street, right? And it's a lot going on one street. But whenever you're on Jefferson Street, it's only one side of Jefferson Street popping, and that's the side going towards the south side of Lafayette. But if you're going towards Simcoe Street, it looks all deserted. The businesses, buildings look all old and not up to date, and that's where we lacking at, guys. We need to step it up on the business side. We need to start creating businesses so we can create opportunities for people who look like us. So entrepreneurship is very important, and we need to start educating our youth and also, young adults, older adults, and the elders, who are able to start businesses, to start a business. So that's the first step we need to do. Entrepreneurship is very important. The second thing we must do is credit. We have to educate ourselves on credit. We have to educate ourselves on credit utilization. Some of us get out of school, get into debt with these credit cards, and these credit cards, probably charging a high APR, and then we find ourselves stuck and discouraged, and we broke, busted, and disgusted because we don't know how to pay back, or we don't know how to create an income of to pay back our debt. So we really have to educate ourselves on debt, guys. Also, we need to learn how to leverage credit. You can take credit and turn it into cash once you understand how to. So if there are any black credit workers, or black credit repairers who is interested in connecting with me so we can educate the community on credit, get at me. Um, Also, we need to educate ourselves on business credit, guys, because business credit can take us a long way. Believe it or not, business credit can take us a long way. Business credit, sometimes in the beginning, is ran off of your personal credit, but once you build yourself up, business credit can really come in handy. So we need to really educate ourselves, guys, because 700 credit score communities do not riot. 700 community scores, community do not depend on other people for their well-being. And just because you have a high credit score doesn't necessarily mean you have a lot of cash reserve, and it doesn't mean that you're making a lot of money, but you still are in a position to be able to get, find good deals, I should say, or you can find good payments on things like that. It comes in handy, guys, right? And so that's the second thing, guys. The first thing was entrepreneurship. The second thing is credit education. The third thing is real estate education. We must educate the people on home ownership. We have to educate our people on mortgages like the FHA, the 283K loan, the VA loan, which is for veterans. I'm a veteran. I'm a Navy veteran. And conventional loans, which allows us to buy up apartment buildings and office space. That's what conventional loans are for. The FHA is a government loan. The 283K is also an extension of the FHA, but the 203K allows you to buy the house, and also it adds on the rehab costs. So let's say you buy a house for 90,000, repair cost is 30,000. The mortgage allows you to combine that, and that's your mortgage, and that's how the 203K work. Also, the one benefit about being a homeowner, is when you paying off your mortgage, guys, you have what's called equity. You can take out money, you can take out your equity, right? And you can probably go on vacation you want to. You can reinvest into rental properties. That's what I recommend. You have equity in your home, you can take that out, fund a business, or you can reinvest that money into other rental properties to further your kids' future. You see what I'm saying? Like, help your kids out in the future. Um, that's a big thing. Some people don't like doing it because they say, it adds on to my mortgage. My mortgage go back up. When that's what you should be aiming for. You should be aiming to pay down, your mortgage principal. That way you have equity. You can take that equity, put that equity into a real estate investment property. That way, that real estate investment property could probably pay for your kids' college in the future. That's the thing, guys. We don't think we're not exposed to things that's really beneficial to us, and we sometimes we are scared to take the risk. But whenever we educated on how to properly use these instruments, it can benefit us in a long way. And also, guys, whenever you're a homeowner, you have an investment property, guys, you have what's called tax write-offs. You can write off, your taxes and stuff like that. We also have to educate on how to maintain our neighborhoods. We need to understand that when we maintain our neighborhoods, the value of the neighborhood goes up. The value of the neighborhood increases, which means the taxes increases, which means public schools are funded properly. If you, for an example, if you was to take a one public school that's doing poorly, show me the community that's around it, and that's part of the reason why public schools are poorly funded and just poor in general, because of the community, because of, you might have vacant lots, you might have vacant houses, which brings criminal activity, low self-esteem in the neighborhood, no trust in the neighborhood, um, and ultimately no unity in the neighborhood, no kind of wealth building in the neighborhood. So that's very important too, guys. We need to um, learn how to maintain our neighborhood so we can improve the value of not only our life and not our neighbor lives, but our kids' future. And that's what it's all about. A lot of people have houses just sitting and it's rotting and it's really destroying the value of the community, and it's really um, detrimental to people's self-esteem, right? Because some people walk outside and might look at their situation and be like, man, like, why am I born to this? And then they take on that victim mentality because they don't see greatness, right? They don't see a lawyer living next door to them. They don't see a doctor living next door to them because of the condition of the neighborhood. But if we can reverse engineer everything we've been taught, and just really unlearn everything, then relearn, we can further our neighborhoods. And that's the mission behind the Northside project. We should really strive to rebuild the Northside Lafayette on our own, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and buy up all these vacant houses, these vacant lots, and start building and renovating these houses and putting people in position to become homeowners. That way we can increase family wealth, families, wealth 100,000 per year. That's what we should be striving for, instead of just talking on social media about all the injustices that's going on in the Lafayette parish. We don't need to be focused on the injustices that's going on, right? Without solutions. We need to focus on it with solutions. We need to focus on what's the problem and how can we solve this problem. And one of the reasons why there's a lot of injustice is because we're not entrepreneurs. We don't understand credit. We don't understand real estate. You know what all these things have in common? Economic. It's economic mobility, economic power. You can put things into place, right? Which leads to my number four thing. And number four is a financial institution. Yes, a credit union or a bank. We need a financial institution. That way we can have access to loans. We can have access to business funding, right? We can have access to capital, right? That's what we need too, right? So just think about it. Let's do this for a minute. Let's reverse everything we just talked about, right? Let's say the Northside Lafayette had a financial institution that had the north side of Lafayette best interest, right? Then the financial institution will give out mortgages, which is all real estate. And then in order to get that real estate, you would have to have good credit, right? Like a 620 on up, right? Good credit. And then with good credit, people would be thinking and people would be exposed to new things, and we would make a whole lot of entrepreneurs, right? So we need to get people with influence in the community involved, like the Kenneth Boudreaux's, the Cupids, and many other wealthy black people that's, and I'm not trying to sound too radical or anything, but that's the reality of the situation, and that's what we have to really see it as and build off of that, because we are me and you are putting our money into institutions, right, in Lafayette that take the money and give it to real estate development companies who build away from the north side of Lafayette. You see what I'm saying? So let's say you take your money. Let's say you deposit $1,000 into a bank. A bank can lend up to 10,000. A bank can lend up to 10 times your money. So you deposit 1,000. The bank can lend up to $10,000 on your dollar. Just think about it. We had a financial institution that had the best interest of the north side at heart. Just think about all the capital that would be in that financial institution over 20 years. We can take the Simcoe Strip and make that the black business district, because all those buildings need to be updated, they need to be renovated, and a lot of that is causing criminal activity, right? It's causing low self-esteem, it's causing that victim mentality. But we need to really get out of that victim mentality and come up with a plan. This is what I came up with by looking at other communities, and that's how other communities are striving, because they're making their kids entrepreneurs. They're having them, entrepreneurial spirit, right? Credit is great. They own real estate, which 9 out of 10 millionaires in the world get rich through real estate. And they also have financial institutions where they can put their money in. That money can be loaned out to real estate development companies, or startup businesses can have access to capital. And that's the only thing we miss on the north side. This is not a video to exclude anyone, but this is particularly for the north side of Lafayette, because I know not only black people stay on the north side of Lafayette, and we can probably, correlate the north side of Lafayette to only black folks staying there, but it's majority of us and majority wins. But this is my 4 steps to how we can change the north side of Lafayette in 20 years. It only takes 20 years to change a culture. So, if you were a naysayer, or if you a pessimist, this video is not for you. This video is for people who knows this situation and who wants to make better of this situation. So we need entrepreneurs. We need people with better credit scores. We need people who own real estate. That way we can dictate what goes on around the neighborhood. We can improve our neighborhoods. We can police our own neighborhoods. And most importantly, have a financial institution. That way our kids don't have to hear us keep saying we don't have access to capital. And that financial institution can be there to back them on their business endeavors or whatever they would like to do, whether it's loans, what I'm saying, business funding and things like that. So if you are interested in working with me in redeveloping the north side of Lafayette, whether it's in real estate, which I specialize in, my company specializes in real estate solutions. We help out people who are in need to sell their houses quickly. So yeah, man, contact me at Broussard Investment Group at gmail.com, or you can give me a call at 281-671-0030. Thank you.